Welcome here at the group exhibit Hydrogen Fuel Cells Batteries at the Hanover Fair. Right now we take some high time. Hydrogen and fuel cells in Europe's energy and transport system. This is a forum discussion. That means together we here on stage and the audience, so this means you, are into a discussion. I hope you can take part of it. Just raise up your hand if you want to tell something. And I mean your opinion mainly. If you want to tell something about that, what is in your mind. Raise your hand, I get up to you and give you the microphone. So therefore, all of you are invited to give your opinion. And your opinion has been and will be represented in Brussels by the European Hydrogen Association. Therefore, let us welcome the Executive Director of the European Hydrogen Association, Marieke Reijalt.
Thank you. Hi. Hi again.
Are you still fine with your arm?
Better every day.
Oh, fine.
And especially my left is getting better every day.
So you train the other arm on that.
Yes.
So you work for politicians.
No,
You do lobby work.
I don't work for politicians.
So what do you exactly do with your association?
Well, I think I work with politicians or against politicians, depending on their view of fuel cells and hydrogen. No, we work, of course, in Brussels as a European organization to promote fuel cells and hydrogen technologies. And I think, indeed, we feel it's high time that with all the evidence that we see at this fair as well of market-ready products in a variety of fields, that politicians should step up their support.
High time in this situation is we're ready for the market, going ahead in the complete hydrogen, fuel cell and battery story?
I think fuel cells and hydrogen technologies have been promoted by various EU programs over the last years. For a long time we have been looked at as the technologies that were always coming. And of course, in being in Brussels, we have to explain a lot and also show to politicians what is happening in our different 21 countries where national associations that are member of the EHA are mobilizing small and medium-sized enterprises, their politicians, cities and public transport authorities to get involved. But with the new policies coming online, where the ambition of the EU is also increasing in accelerating the uptake of these clean technologies, also fuel cells and hydrogen technologies should be more in the focal points of EU policy.
So that means with the new politicians there's a kind of rethinking in political way about fuel cells?
Well, not so much of rethinking. Of course, as an association, also our national associations and the regions, of course, that we are working with, because the European Hydrogen Association is hosting the partnership of 40 regions now active in this field in Europe. But no, it's more that we present them what is already working, how in different other parts of Europe, because we have to acknowledge, of course, that still in few countries in Europe these technologies are really visible, really picking up. But that can be accelerated with the right political support and with the right visibility of the technologies in different policy areas.
So this is going in the political transformation. There's an open ear more and more, but you have to scream loud, right?
Well, we are, of course, confronted with the ever neutrality with regards to technologies of the European Commission. And that is understandable when different technology options are being developed. But these different technology options, for example, hydrogen and fuel cells, have of course a different pathway. They are different stages where they would need different kind of support. And I think we are coming to a point that we are saying, well, if the ambition of the EU is to indeed have the conventional fueled cars in cities in 15 years from now, we can stay technology neutral forever, but at some point we have to decide, indeed, electricity and hydrogen currently, from a technology point of view, are the only options that can substitute conventional fuels, oil. So we have to also act upon that in supporting and in really making sure that these technologies get the playing field that they can start filling.
So this sounds more confident. You're getting stronger with your argumentation in the direction of the politics, and that means you need also material and information. Where do you get your information from?
Well, first of all, of course, from the national associations and all their activities. I have a great respect both for our national colleagues in the context of different political situations and support in countries that keep on, because we with EAJ since 2000, the year 2000, when this association was formed by only 6 national associations, are still seeing a continuous growth. We are now 21. The same with the regional networks that started operations in 2008. We started with 9 regions. In this whole economic crisis period up to now, we are now 40 regions supporting the acceleration and uptake of fuel cell and hydrogen technologies at local level. So there is indeed a lot of movement and traction in this area. Compared to all the conventional activities and all the support they are still getting, it's still too little. And the evidence growing, and also the SME and all the right ticking boxes of EU policy that we actually comply with, should all result in a better and more cohesive and comprehensive policy support in the coming years. So we are getting impatient, and this is the result of that as well. I still use my left to get that
impress
going
politics.
Yes.
So, as I see, you work very hard against politics, sometimes with them together, to get it through on in the regional or in small villages, like in big villages, like in big countries too. So you can spread your news directly to the politics in every part of Europe, in general, to say.
Yeah, I think my colleagues at national associations have, of course, the best links and are best informed of who is deciding what at national government level. Of course, we try to have that link directly in Brussels with the directorate. But a good example is a few weeks ago, my Spanish colleagues at the Spanish Hydrogen Association organized another edition of the European Hydrogen Energy Conference in Spain, in Seville. We had over 300 participants at this conference. And we all know the political and economical situation in Spain. They really took off only a year ago with this idea and developed together with the industry and the platform that is operating in Spain. They really managed to get a lot of visibility also for politicians at the local, at regional, at national level. So they also are the key contacts with those political decision makers at national level. The same with the regions. Our colleagues in the regions are the persons who decide on these budgets. So we have an excellent overview of what is indeed possible and what not. And after each election, we have to identify new people to tell the story over and over again. But it is increasingly getting easier with the evidence and the uptake of market applications, including the vehicles, of course, that we are looking forward to.
Exactly. they made a tremendous jump forward, to say it in this word. So I just looked around about the interested faces. There were several people just looking at us like having a question mark about the head. And well, like I told you, we have here an open circle. Yeah. So this is the woman who can put up your opinion to Brussels. The interesting point is not only to Brussels, but to every region in Europe. So it is very interesting for me to hear what you say. What is your opinion? That's why I'm... Is it allowed? I just go down and ask them if they got an opinion?
Yes, please do.
You don't even have to raise your hand, I just ask you. Aha, sir. My name is Alexander Weyer. Hi. You're here because you are interested in hydrogen and fuel cells, batteries, and you can force, you got now the situation, to force the politicians in your region. Do you have a kind of attitude, what you like to tell us?
I sincerely do. Yeah, Paulo is my name. I'm from ACTA, and we have a novel hydrogen manufacturing technology by water electrolysis, which we are currently taking to market. So we have a product that is actually sold, and it's sold globally. So we start seeing the results, it's true. But indeed, I don't see the perception that this hydrogen is really something that is coming. And this is frustrating. This is absolutely reflected in the share price value. You take a look at the NASDAQ, and you'll see that the companies here that are involved in hydrogen and fuel cell, they all have been appreciated. You look at us, I mean, you look our company, you look at, us, ITM, Ceres Power, several companies that are active in this sector, our share has always been doing terrible.
What kind of question would you ask him to get a politician influenced?
I think my point is perfectly clear, but I think that in Europe we do not have the perception that the fuel cell is for real, that hydrogen is for real. I think we need to convey this message, and I perfectly agree with Marieke. I think at a certain point we should say loudly that this is the technology on which we invested to offset carbon.
This is the attitude?
I think so. I know ACTA for quite some time, and I think it's an example of indeed the persistence and also the knowledge we have in Europe, because that's sometimes forgotten too. Europe really has an edge compared to other areas in the world as well. I think especially indeed now with the whole electrolyzer developments that we see at this fair too, but also in vehicle production, of course. And compared to the other parts of the world, we should definitely feature that a bit more, and the Commission should feature that a bit more too.
So there's a lot of, the European community existing also not only from specialists for hydrogen and fuel cells. We have also the possibility to convince the usual housekeeper, for example, or the usual guy on the street who's interested to or not informed enough. Is this also something that should politicians do?
Well, if a politician is convinced, of course, that helps a lot. What we have seen for commitment and support in Germany, of course, that will in the end also influence the view of the final consumer. But again, I think the products will eventually convince the consumer. I mean, not everybody is realizing that they are driving around on 40 liters of highly flammable substance in cars that function in a certain way. I think what is interesting, though, when I started working in Brussels for the European Hydrogen Association, I started to explain a bit less what fuel cells and hydrogen were all about. More, if I got questions, but what is a fuel cell? What is hydrogen? I started responding as, you don't know what a fuel cell is? You don't know what hydrogen can do? Because I think we also have to come to some kind of acknowledgement that this technology has been there for quite a while. And we should demonstrate, most of all, that the products are looking great. They are looking like any other product in the field that people are currently used to, the boilers, the fuel cells. It should all be convincing about more efficiency, better for the environment, just a better product. And that in the end, of course, as always, will convince consumers. But
so
I think
we're used to have magic boxes in our house and unbelievable engines in our cars, which we can't compare with nothing and don't understand anymore. So why can't it be a fuel cell instead of a V12, for example? Yeah.
yeah.
Taking this point, of course, it is the regular step. As I told you, I'm Alexander Weyer. Hi. What is your name?
My name is Fernando Figueroa.
Well, this sounds also very European. Are you a European?
No, actually I'm Mexican, but I studied the Erasmus Mundus program. So I studied in Austria and the Netherlands.
So you are here to get information about fuel cells in general?
Yeah, fuel cells and energy efficient appliances. And well, my approach is on the combination as an ecosystem. So to see how the different technologies can combine. And well, maybe I had a question on that. That is, well, how you approach these technologies in the European arena? Because, well, you're at the moment, let's say, advocating a bit more for hydrogen. But when you approach to that, I guess there's also people advocating for fully electric and for high efficiency or hybrids. So is the approach a collaboration on them to advocate for a combination of these? Because I would say all-electric society using hydrogen as a storage will be a good combination, but probably the all-electric guys would prefer to have batteries, or that will be more connected to their industry. So is there an approach to build such ecosystems with combinations of technology?
I think the battery guys, if we if we call them like that, will agree with me that the integration of these systems will depend on every specific condition that you are confronted with. There is, of course, no final solution for different types of storage you need and different opportunities of linking it to transport. But I think what we have seen evolving in our own organizations and networks, especially at local level, colleagues that are responsible for budgets on transport and energy, clean transport and energy at local but also at national level, are in most cases responsible for all alternatives to conventional solutions, to fossil fuels. These are the same people. They have one budget. They have to decide how to best spend it. So the better they are informed about the positive and the negative of each technology, of course, that helps us all. And what we have seen in evolvement in battery technology will eventually help us, like, for example, in the fuel cell bus developments, because fuel cell buses now are hybrid buses. They use batteries, they use fuel cells, and both technologies have to be optimized in order to move that application further. So at local and regional level, people are already confronting what is best for a car sharing fleet, what is best for a taxi fleet, what is best for a bus fleet. And in the end, it will map out. It's great that we have all these different solutions, that we are not locking ourselves in or having to lock ourselves into one technology. But only by embarking on the larger scale, because we are moving out of demo phase. We are moving out of small scale. We need to be ready to start implementing, also be confident in implementing the technologies at larger scale. And that will prove what works best. So there's no competition. It's more like looking where we can best implement it. And the winner will take the lead in the end.
Very fine sentence for as the last sentence for our conference here directly. I'd like to invite you to the booth of Marieke. It's the E65. Just follow the road on the orange carpet in this way on the right side before you leave the orange carpet. It's about 25 meters maybe. Yeah. So please, give me a small and louder growing applause for Marieke.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexander.
Thank you very much. See you soon.